What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome to another edition of Broncos Daily with your host, Kurt Valenti. You want the latest Broncos news, Broncos talk? Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, share so other Denver Bronco fans can see it. And of course, comment. I will get to your comments throughout the show as Monday through Thursday. And if I don't, there's only a couple left, but we still have at least 2 Fan Take Fridays. Your comments, your thoughts, your ideas. We will be changing that format once we get into the regular season. But hey, Fan Take Tuesday, Fan Take Wednesday. I promise we will keep the Fan Take, but it won't be Friday. But, we got a lot to talk a bit about today. But before we start talking Bronco football, I want to give a big shout out to our good friends over at Kalshi. I want to thank them for their support, thank them for their sponsorship of the show. Use code FANARCHFOOTBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. And that's for our good friends, Kalshi. Let's start with this. We were a little fired up yesterday, and for good reason, right? Not a good performance, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So let's stay right with this defense. Am I worried about this Bronco defense going forward after Friday night's performance? Here's my answer. Yes. And when I mean, am I worried about opening night in Kansas City, the regulars? No. I'm talking a bit about the 17-game season, winning an AFC championship, winning a Super Bowl, right? There are still a couple holes that this defense has not fixed. And we're going to talk a bit about this in topic 3 today, but it's that middle linebacker spot. And we keep saying it, we keep harping on it, right? And it's where, I'm still going to get at and on Vance Joseph sometimes because he doesn't change the scheme. And it seems like these offensive coordinators around the league are always finding a way to get our inside linebackers one-on-one with their running backs, with their tight ends, but mainly the running backs. And we saw that with Green Bay and Matt LaFleur, what he did to us in the scrimmage game on Friday. And it's like taking candy from a baby. We just can't stop it, right? Do we have the talent to be the best defense in football? 100%. Like I said, we're the only team that have all pro players at all 3 levels, right? You got it at the defensive line. You got it at the outside linebacker with Benito. You got it in the secondary with Surtain. You got all pros on all 3 levels. How many teams have that? Just one, us. So what's the problem? Is it the scheme? Is it that the scheme doesn't change, right? We saw that first game, and we saw an aggressiveness. We saw this tenacity of, we're going to cause turnovers. We're going to, just cause problems. And then in the second game, at home, with a fired-up crowd as much as you can for a preseason game, you lay a dud. And it's the same thing. It's the same issue. The running backs on our linebackers, the tight ends on our linebackers. And it's like we never learn, right? We never learn. Is it fixable? I mean, I don't know if it's fixable with the players we got, but the scheme has to change. That's the problem. The scheme has not changed. We have outside linebackers. We got DeAndre Tillman guarding running backs, and it's a walk-in touchdown. And we've seen this year after year after year. It has to change. Because if teams are doing it in the preseason, you don't think they're going to do it in the regular season? They know it works. So it's either we change the scheme or we get, middle linebackers who can cover. Here's the problem. Where are we getting those guys now? Right? You're not going to just find guys like that and, okay, you're a starting level middle linebacker in the NFL, and you can, those guys are hot commodities. You're not finding that now. So something's going to change. So I am a little worried. Again, does this defense have the talent to be the best defense in football? Yes. But am I worried? I am. Because I'll say it again. As good as I think our offense is going to be, I think as good as Bo Nix is going to be, if we're going to win a Super Bowl this year, our defense has to carry it. It has to be on our defense's back. 1, it's the strength of our team. It's where our money is. And 2, it's how you win. Defense wins championships. So this defense has to carry us to a championship. And that is led by our defensive coordinator. Can they do it? There's still question marks on that. That's all I'm going to say. There's a lot of question marks on that. But Broncos country, what's your thoughts? Before we get to before we get to topic number 2 today, I want to talk a little bit about what happens while we get older. Okay, and your body just it doesn't bounce back, in my 50s like it did when I was in my 20s and 30s, right? And what's the reason for that? Testosterone, right? As we age, testosterone naturally declines. It affects muscles, energy, and recovery. I'm down the Jersey Shore right now. I want to go out tonight. I want to stay out late. The problem is, if I do, is my body going to recover for tomorrow morning? Probably not. So, what are my options? Well, this is where I'm going to say to you, that's why I'm going to be checking out Mars Men. Get 50% off for life and free shipping and three free gifts at mengotomars.com. When checking out and they ask where they heard about them, say Broncos Daily on FanArch. Again, get 50% off for life and free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. So check out our good friends at Mars Men. And again, maybe, if you take it, like I'm going to take it, maybe I can stay out tomorrow night, 2, 3 in the morning, wake up at 7, and I'm ready to go. So check them out. Let's get back to a little Bronco football here. The roster cuts, obviously, this weekend, and a position that there's not a position of need on the team of the Denver Broncos, and that's the wide receivers. Okay? This position is loaded. Jalen Waddle. It's actually funny I'm saying that, because if we said this about 4 years ago, you would think I was nuts. We probably had the worst wide receiver room in the whole NFL. And now it might be the best. Courtland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin. Right? It looks like the Broncos are going to keep 5. Who's on the outside looking in? Well, you got Sean Payton's boy, Little Jordan Humphrey. You got Cameron Ross, who's been outstanding, okay, making play after play in the preseason. You got our guy Katzis, who's a, not only a wide receiver, but a pretty electric returner. The thing is, if they do not, keep a 6th, 7th, and 8th, which isn't going to happen, but are those guys going to be able to make the Broncos practice squad? You saw last year with Little Jordan Humphrey, when the Broncos cut him, the Giants signed him, right? We got him later on in the year. But again, that is the one guy where I think, can Sean do something surprising and trade one of these guys? Is Troy Franklin on the block? Is Troy Franklin the odd man out right now? Okay? I know a lot of people here on the show, I'm banging the table for Troy Franklin. He had 800 yards last year, and he's going to be a star. I disagree with that. Do I think he's a nice, compliment player on this roster? Yeah. Is he a number 1, 2, or 3? Not on this team, not on a championship team, not when you got Waddle, Sutton, Mims, and Pat Bryant. I mean, Pat Bryant's going to be a stud. Pat Bryant, I've said it all year long, has been drafted to replace Courtland Sutton. And that could happen as soon as this offseason coming up. Because, again, the Broncos are paying a lot of people. They have to pay now Jalen Waddle. They're going to have to pay Bo Nix, right? And how much room can you put into in a wide receiver room? Are you going to have, $30+ million and almost $40 million in 2 wide receivers and Waddle and Sutton, when you can just throw Pat Bryant in there on a rookie deal of a 4th round draft pick? So it's going to be interesting. The guy, though, that's the most interesting is Troy Franklin. What are they going to do with him? Mims, I think Mims is locked in. I just think they love his return ability. He's a home run hitter. He's a better deep threat than Troy Franklin. And he kind of gives you what Waddle gives, right? Like what Waddle gives you. So it's kind of like a poor man's Jalen Waddle. You could play those guys 2 together. You could play, God forbid Waddle's hurt. Mims takes that role. We have seen Mims be our best player when it mattered. In the postseason last year, Marvin Mims was our best wide receiver. So I think those 5 are locked. The only question would be Troy Franklin. Do you, and what are we going to get for him? Like, is it worth to get a 5th-round pick for Troy Franklin so little Jordan Humphrey makes the team? I don't think so. Is the team going to give me a 2nd or a 3rd-round pick for him? Then I will look into that. But I'm not just going to give him away because injuries happen. Look at the playoffs last year. We had 2 and 3 wide receivers banged up. I mean, we're playing wide receivers off the streets, right? Little Jordan Humphreys was our number 2 receiver last year in the postseason. Like that, we can't win like that. So we have to have depth. But Broncos country, you tell me, who do you guys want them to keep? Do you think it's going to be more than 5? Again, Sutton, Waddle, Mims, Franklin, Bryant. Those are the 5 I do think they're going to keep. I think Franklin does stay. Maybe he's moved before the trade deadline, but that's what I'm going to go with. Broncos country, what about you? Let's get back to what we opened the show about tonight. And that was our inside linebackers not being able to cover and how it is just a problem year after year after year after year. So you're going to say to me, well, you told me there's nobody we can sign that's going to help this roster. Well, that's half true. I said there's nobody that they're going to sign that's going to be a 3-down linebacker. You can start him. He can cover. That's not happening now unless you make a major trade, right? Major trade. But who's that guy, right? Like who is going to trade their star linebacker now? Nobody. But you can still get help with outside free agents. And I'm going to get back to a name that I've been banging this table for a couple of weeks, and that is Bobby Wagner. Okay? You're going to say to me, I'm crazy because you're taking somebody, I believe he's 36 years old, and he's older than what we have. But, our linebackers that we are going to expect to get some time, whether it's Stranad, York, Murdoch, or Reed, right? Unless we make a massive move for some inside linebacker that we are not thinking is going to be available, those young guys are going to get a lot of playing time. The problem is we don't have the experience. We don't. So let's go get experience. And that comes in the name of a guy, Bobby Wagner. He is a Super Bowl MVP. He is a Super Bowl champion. He is a leader on the defense. Okay? This guy does not have to play. We are not looking for somebody who has to play 3 downs. Okay? Listen, he could be a 1st-down linebacker, but he is going to, help groom these young guys and still be productive when he plays. Okay? So, all those people are saying just throw out Red Murdoch and throw out Terrell York and let him play. We have to remember they are a 7th-round draft pick and an undrafted draft pick. And we want to just throw them and say, you're our middle linebackers on this Super Bowl defense? Why are they 7th round and undrafted players? Because they have flaws. We just got to hope that we could work around those flaws with other players and be able to, hide those flaws from those guys. But you can't just expect, okay, throw these 2 guys in, they're our answer. It's just, it's not going to work. Not right now. So go get Bobby Wagner. All it's going to cost is money. And again, we're not in a bidding war. We're not giving this guy $15 million a year. I mean, he's got flaws too. And it's not the flaws is his age because he's 36 years old. So he's not going to command $10 to $15 million. I mean, if he does, he's nuts. But he's also unsigned. And I also don't think you're going to get a team like, just say, the New York Jets. They're not going to go and sign Bobby Wagner, right? Like, that's a team they're going to play a younger guy. A team like the Broncos, that's a team that needs a Bobby Wagner. And you never get hurt from leadership. You never get hurt from experience, playoff experience, Super Bowl experience. Nothing's going to hurt from doing that. So let's just go do it, right? I also talked about Matt Milano. Maybe we'll talk about him the next couple of days. But Wagner's the guy. Bring him in. Give us the experience. You could still play, right, at some capacity, All right. Maybe you're a first, second down linebacker. Maybe you're just a first down linebacker. But you're a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. So I'm taking him. Broncos country. What about you? Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. The Buffalo Bills are 50%, they are a 57% chance to win the AFC East this season, meaning a $100 trade brings back a $170.31 payout. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers on a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code FANARCHFootball to get $10 when you trade $10. KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade on anything. Again, I want to give a big shout out to our friends at Kalshi for their support and their sponsorship. And please go check it out. I love the Buffalo Bills. I am not a fan of the Patriots this year. I think they're going to regress big time. Buffalo Bills, the one team that scares me the most on our way to get to the Super Bowl. Love them to win the AFC East. Let's talk about one more thing. And of course, that's our comments. Like I said, guys, please get your comments in. I will get to them Monday through Thursday. If I don't, I will get to them, on Fan Take Friday. Right now, we have 2 more Fan Take Fridays left before we change it up. But trust me, I will make sure we keep this in coordination with the show. Let's start with Jed6267. I appreciate most about you that you can handle the truth. There are many who aren't strong enough, so they listen to lies instead. Thank you for that comment, Jed. Mike Chichura. I would make the defense play next game. Hopefully they can get in sync with each other. Hey, listen, I'm doing it either 2 ways. My first way is, you know what? You're done. Nobody's playing, and you're going to have that bad taste in your mouth until you get on the field in Kansas City. Or, you know what? That was disgraceful Friday night, so now you got to play this Friday night. One of the two. I'm not going to I'm not going to do it halfway. That's it. The performance was bad. You're playing. Or, you know what? You guys had your chance. I want to see you guys onto the field and make them hungry going into Kansas City. One of the two. I'm going to play them. Let them play. Because that's not the Broncos defense we know. Let me get to one more. This is from Ian Bloomquist. I think after Moss got hurt, the overall vibe from everyone on defense is that this is a preseason game. It's not worth getting hurt and sitting out any regular season length of a regular season game. I think it was more of a business decision than a lack of ability. Could you imagine Surtain getting hurt because he felt he had something to prove, or play the best ability, ended up missing half the season because of another shoulder injury? I think it was an unspoken chance to take it down a notch, and the reality of an injury became real. Moss is huge for our season, and we almost lost him to broken ribs. Lonnie Alexander saying, I've watched this play and felt as though the officials didn't provide good enough reviews showing Surtain strip fumble. Is television hiding what happened? Let's get back to this with the Riley Moss. I think the Broncos have too much pride, and this defense should have too much pride. Like I said, this is what's going to win us a Super Bowl. So just to say, okay, we're going to pack it in because we don't, we saw Riley Moss got hurt and we don't want to, I don't think that's an excuse. I don't. It's not good enough. This defense has to lead us to a championship. And it has to show it from, and the thing that bothers me is you're jacked up in this stadium, right? This place is packed. Preseason game, Bo's back. First game since that AFC championship loss. You're hungry. And that's your performance? I don't like it. I don't like it, and it has to be better. And hey, maybe we need it, and maybe it's a good thing, and maybe, it's a smack in the face to reality of, I always say this on the show. It's not like there's teams that are, here and then everybody else is here. Everybody's so close. The difference between winning 14 games for the Broncos and maybe winning 9 is, 3 or 4 plays a game. And it goes for everybody in the league like that. So they can't mess around. They have a tough schedule to start. They cannot come out and, okay, by week, 4, we'll be ready to play. You might be 1-3. You can't be 1-3. You want to go to Buffalo for a playoff game? Or you want the Bills to come to Denver? I'll go to Denver. So, interesting though, but the defense just has to be better. Mentally, on the field, off the field, they can't think like that. Have to be better. But that's going to do it for another edition of Broncos Daily. Like I said, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, share, and of course, comment. Check us out on YouTube. Also, check out some Facebook. They have some awesome Facebook clips, questions you guys can answer. TikTok, if you just want the podcast version, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. But that is it. I will see you guys tomorrow. And as always, go Broncos.